The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com. Hello and welcome to another live Wrestling with Johners, part of the Johners Podcasting Network. And today I've got an amazing guest with me. He's a pro wrestler, a comedian, a promoter, a trainer, an entrepreneur, you might say, and now a filmmaker. I can't wait to get into all of that over the next 45 minutes or so. But first, I've got dirty Ronald McDonald himself, Mikey Gordon. Mikey, how the hell are you, buddy? I think...
Awesome.
Oh! There we go, live broadcasting, but we fly by the seat of our pants on this show. And Mikey Gordon, how the devil are you? After that awesome introduction, we have microphone issues, but how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I got a nice fresh doobie rolled up. San Diego, ready to have a great day. I'm wrestling with Johners.
You certainly are. You certainly are. And we've been looking forward to this episode for quite a while now. Don't forget to send us your comments on this live stream. Send us your questions for Mikey Gordon, all about a pro wrestling movie, The Legend of Dirty Ron. But you're on a bit of a mission with this film, Mikey, The Legend of Dirty Ron. We've got the trailer to show everybody a little bit later on. But the movie, a pro wrestling movie, The Legend of Dirty Ron. Tell us what it's all about. Tell us what the premise is. Tell us about this film, buddy.
Yeah, so it is what it says it is. It's a pro wrestling movie. It's a movie made by pro wrestling fans for pro wrestling fans. My mom was an independent wrestler in the late 70s, wrestled under 100 matches. I started my professional wrestling career at 16 years old in April of the year 2000. I run an independent wrestling promotion called Fist Combat, and so my entire life has been all pro wrestling. I've watched every WrestleMania live. I'm 37 years old, and I'm about to watch my 37th WrestleMania live. Wrestling's been my entire life. And, I wanted to make a movie that showcased wrestlers outside of the ring. So that's why we've hired over 20 professional wrestlers, current and former, from Rob Van Dam to Katie Forbes to Victoria, Effie, Mecca Wolf, Matt Sydal, on down the line. We've got an incredible list of cameos, great comedians, and Tommy Chong does a cameo on the thing.
It sounds absolutely awesome. And like I said, we've got the trailer to show everybody a bit later on. I've seen it over a dozen times. I absolutely love the trailer. It gives you a fantastic flavour for what the film's all about. But when were you first kind of inspired, that light bulb moment that you wanted to be a filmmaker? Because like you say, you're a pro wrestler from the age of 16. You've been in the business over 20 years, promoter for 14 years, and now you wanted to be a filmmaker. But what was that kind of initial moment that made you think, yeah, I want to start being a filmmaker? I want to do a film about my life, essentially.
Well, so the film really isn't about my life. It's a stoner comedy.
It's
not a documentary. It's a comedy. But no. So, okay, I've been, like I said, I've been in pro wrestling for a hot minute. And I try to get inspired to do new things. I started stand-up comedy 7 years ago, all sorts of things. So a few years back, I'm doing this character, Dirty Ronald McDonald, who just the fast food mascot on cocaine, basically. And so I was like, all right, well, this character is connecting with people. I had been wrestling for a decade and a half off and on at that point, and nothing really connected. And I have this, curly fry lock hair, and I was like, I kind of look like a shitty Ronald McDonald. So I was like, hey, I'll come up with this character. So the character connected with people, and I was like, hey, man, I'm 37. My body's starting to break down. How do we keep this train rolling? So I got inspired by the Blue Demon and El Santo movies, and I was like, why aren't there current wrestlers making shitty indie films? So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And I've seen some of your other interviews. You've mentioned the kind of traditional Mexican movies, the Blue Demon and El Santos. I absolutely love them sort of movies. But your movie, as compared to Half Baked and Rocky, is kind of like a real movie about kind of an underdog, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically it follows the same storyline as Rocky. So
Yeah.
Dirty Ron is the playboy son of a fast food mogul who's supposed to be Ronald McDonald. And so I'm his son, and he can't I can't work anywhere. I'm a piece of trash. So he keeps giving me a job as a mascot, and my manager hates me. So my manager fires me, and then I beat the shit out of him. And while I'm beating the crap out of this manager, a dumpster dwelling former pro wrestling champion played by Rob Van Dam sees me and he goes, "Hey kid, I could teach you how to be a pro wrestler." And so then the movie is a journey about me becoming a pro wrestler, but also in that mix, similar to Apollo Creed and Rocky, my Apollo Creed is played by Effie, called Rainbow Star. And he's the world heavyweight champion of the massive world of pro wrestling that we've created. And he's going to give a nobody a shot at the title.
Yeah,
So
and you mentioned Rob
is a famous fast food son. Yeah.
And you mentioned Rob Van Dam there. You've been friends with RVD for a number of years, I understand. And how did you get RVD involved in the film? How did you sell the movie to him, or how did you sell his character to him? How did he kind of fall in love with your concept?
Yeah, man. So that was the coolest part, is because I've been a fan of RVD and Sabu. Those are my two favorite wrestlers. I remember exactly where I was on August 2nd, 1998 for Heatwave 98 from Daytona, Ohio. When I watched that, my life was changed. And so being a fan of those guys, like the wrestling world is kind of small once you get inside of it. And I knew it was just a matter of time before I rubbed elbows with all of my heroes. So I had the opportunity to book Sabu a lot in the Midwest. And then in 2015, I saw Rob Van Dam was booked for a comedy show in Bakersfield. So Bakersfield, California. So I drove 5 hours to the show, not booked. I was doing comedy, but I wasn't booked. So I drove to the show just to kind of try to meet the guy, So I got down there early. The booker put me on the comedy show, so I got to tell jokes, which was awesome. But then I got to rub elbows with Rob, and I was like, man, been a long time fan. I'd love to work with you. You do comedy, I do comedy. What's up? So it all kind of started there. And then fast forward to writing the script, and we didn't audition anybody. When I wrote the film with people in mind. I wrote the film, all right, I want this guy to play this guy. So I got married in last July in Las Vegas. Rob Van Dam and Katie live out there. I keep in contact with Rob. I wouldn't say we're like best friends or anything, but it is kind of cool that, RVD is kind of my friend. It's dope, But yeah, man, he came to my wedding reception, and I'm in the middle of a 3-day dinner, and here we are at my wedding reception, and I was like, yo, I got this film. It's a stoner comedy. And he read it. And when I woke up the next day at 5 p.m., he texted me and was like, I'm in. So after that, it was just dominoes, 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 and they were all falling in our favor.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I understand that
you on. Forbes in the film.
Yeah, like I say, you got a whole host of pro wrestlers that are either starring in it or cameo parts. But let's talk a bit about the film as well, because you wrote the initial screenplay, the initial script, and then you've got Pablo Romero Estevez involved, a friend of yours. He's done a lot of filmed a lot of wrestling shows, I understand. And between the two of you, you developed this script. But then kind of the movie kind of grew out of your control, and you realized that you no longer had the budget to kind of fulfill the entire movie. So tell us about that, because I understand that it was a quick realization on day one or day two of on set, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when we started this thing, okay, so you're an indie wrestling fan, right? You don't like just the big time stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I love everything.
You like independent wrestling?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I'm in a wrestling world where you set up a couple lights, you set up a couple cameras, and you shoot, and that shit can sell on Fight TV for $14.99, But when we went into this, we had a Fight TV type budget. And then when we started rolling, we were like, why don't we make this ready for Netflix? You know, why are we like pigeonholing ourselves to only be ready to go for Fight TV? Like, why don't we blow the roof off the film industry? Because here's the reality: is a Seth Rogen comedy costs $1 to $2 million. In Hollywood, that's considered a micro budget, you know, like my micro penis. A micro budget, small budget. So when we're done with this film, we will have completed a full-length 80-minute feature film for under $100,000. So that is going to be a case study, not just for wrestling, but hopefully for the film industry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've already explained that the film is probably only half filmed at the moment. Is that right, Mikey?
Yeah.
Where are we at with the
film? Pablo and I came into this with an indie wrestling mindset. Let's set up a couple cameras, get this angle, get that angle. And then when we started adding more very film-heavy people to the crew, our film crew has an IMDb page as long as a CVS receipt. I don't know if you get that joke, but so they knew what they were doing, and bringing on actual film people to a wrestling project is what turned this into a real life movie. And my budget was only able to withstand, that $10,000 to $20,000 range, and we got up to I've spent almost $50,000 up to this point, and we only have half the film. So we're trying to raise money, and I'm going on every podcast from Connecticut to Colorado, all the way over there across the pond, Australia. I don't care. Let's tell them all. Let's tell every wrestling fan that exists, hey man, there's a new thing coming to pro wrestling. It's a movie, and it's a pro wrestling movie.
Absolutely. And you need the wrestling community to kind of dig deep for any pennies, pounds, dollars they might have. I think the original post I saw was if you could get 5,000 wrestling fans to all donate $10 each, then that can get you through the rest of the movie. Is that kind of the sort of budget we're looking at, to raise another $40,000 or $50,000?
Indeed. I know that here we are like a week and a half in, and I think we're still under $5,000, which isn't exactly what I would have liked to be at. However, it's caused me to start looking into alternative forms of an income for funds to finish this thing. And I just want to let the public know that no matter whether we reach that goal or not, Indiegogo does give you all of that money, whether you reach your goal or not. And we're gonna finish this film one way or another. If Dirty Ron has to go out there and do some dirty things, I don't care. Sign my soul to the devil, the soul I used to have as a redhead, and let's get this movie done.
That's awesome. Absolutely. Well, let's give our viewers a little taste of what's to come. We've got the trailer all lined up. So if kind of modern technology works us here, hopefully we'll run the trailer and see how it all goes.
When we found out that you were coming to work here, we thought you were going to be this exemplary employee. I mean, the legacy of your family, your dad being your dad, your grandfather being your grandfather. Well, I'm sorry I have to say this. What's the term? You're donezo.
Hey, man. Sorry about what happened. I heard.
Oh, with that manager motherfucker?
Yeah, I heard that skinny dude whooped the shit out of you.
I heard you got your firebush fucking stomped.
Damn, you got your ass beat by the nigga with the skinny mustache? Weak ass.
Bro, you supposed to be royalty. You see me drip the fuck down right now?
Hey, man.
You supposed to look like me. We supposed to be a dynasty together.
I don't think he could look like you. I mean, not totally.
You want me to, I can put some bruises on that motherfucking head if you want me to.
There's just certain things.
Hey, take it easy on Jack, all right? He lost his house in a meth fire.
The name's H.G. Gary. But you know me as the Moo Moo Mauler. This is a chance of a lifetime. Now, I'm offering to train you to wrestle. This is your opportunity.
Wait. Is that little Ron?
More like dirty, Ron.
I finally found something I could be good at.
What you talking about, man? He ain't no wrestler.
We dig to the bottom of the barrel, we find the worst of the worst, and I prove that even if you give me schlock, I'm able to make it magic.
You're trying to give the kid a title shot and he just started training? He's not ready for it.
I'm Rainbow Star. I'm the champ. He gets to come up in here with no priors to get to stand in the grace and presence of Rainbow motherfucking Star, bitch!
These people really like wrestling around here.
There's that motherfucker right there. Get him, Karen.
This summer, you will believe a weed-smoking, fast food clown can wrestle. A pro-wrestling movie, The Legend of Dirty Ron.
You guys are wasting your life away with that marijuana.
There we go. That's the trailer. Pretty awesome. I love that trailer so much, and that gives our viewers a flavour of what they're going to see when the film eventually is set for release. Now, I need to ask you, Mikey. You've kind of got a plan to release the film this summer. Is that correct? And take it on a bit of a tour around certain states. There's going to be live Q&As and special screenings for the fans. So, what's the plan, kind of from here onwards?
So, inside the film industry, there is a lot of issues with piracy, a lot of issues with stealing streams, and there's a lot of issues with, I want to give the people a show and show it to the people that supported this thing to make it happen. Is that we are looking for donations to finish this thing. However, here's what I do know. The wrestling community is one of the most supportive communities I've ever been in my entire life. And we're very inclusive with each other. Like pro wrestling, I like you. That's how it was growing up in school. I don't know if I was a cool kid. I don't know if I was a dork, a jock. I don't know what you would call me. I did some sports, but I like pro wrestling. And, I don't care what you look like or who you hung out with or, what your color your skin was. Wrestling's for everybody. And when we make this film, it's not just going to be shown in a theater. It's not going to be streamed. We're going to be taking this show to the people. And not just the show. We're bringing a show. So we'll be linking up with independent wrestling promoters all across the United States at first. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking it town to town in most major cities across the United States to show it in a theater that sits maybe 200-300 people. But I'm bringing some of the comedians from the movie. I'm bringing some of the wrestlers from the movie, and we're going on tour. We'll be doing live Q&As. We'll be doing meets. When you come to see the movie at the screening, you're going to also see some of the props from on set. You're going to see Effie's wig. You're going to see Effie's robe. You're going to see the championship belt. You're going to see, the uniform we wore at the Wick Arnold's the Whack Arnold's restaurant that I worked at. It's going to be a very full experience. It's not, and the movie itself. There's gonna be a lot of while the movie's going on that are gonna be very interactive with the audience that's there. Very 1, 2, 2 sort of things. It's very, very wrestling centric, very wrestling minded. When the hardcore wrestling fans go see this thing live, they're gonna walk out with an experience they will never forget.
It certainly strikes me as being different to any wrestling movie I've ever seen anyway. But off the back of watching that trailer now, Mikey, I understand that there's an Indiegogo page, but more importantly, a website which has got all the information, the trailer, the link to the Indiegogo, and it's scrolling along the bottom of our screen there. And it's simply a website of a pro-wrestlingmovie.com. Is that right?
That is, it is. So, and that was a conscious choice too. The film. Pablo and I kind of disagreed on this, and I said the focus should be a pro wrestling movie with a in parentheses, a Legend of Dirty Ron. No, man, we need to put the Legend of Dirty Ron. We need to make this about Dirty Ron. And I was like, no, like it's about pro wrestling, you know, and pro wrestling is a term to me. As a pro wrestling fan for my entire 37 years on this earth, you know, when I hear somebody say pro wrestling, that hits my heartstrings. I appreciate it. Whereas I think 30 years ago, when somebody was like, "Oh, you like that pro wrestling?" it was a derogatory. But you know what? Just like I'm taking back the term for us. Pro wrestling is cool, man, and that's what we are. We're a pro wrestling movie.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And tell us about your wrestling fandom then. We'll kind of park the movie to one side for a few minutes. But when did you first become a pro wrestling fan? Then you've already told me that your mother was a pro wrestler. Wrestling is in your blood. But when did it first kind of, take this big important part of your life as a fan then, Mikey?
So in the state of Missouri, you had to be 18 years old to get a license. So back in the year 2000, they still had a state athletic commission. They still have a state athletic commission in Missouri and a couple other aspects. But most of the country realizes it's theater and it shouldn't be taxed like a sport. But states like Missouri still have an athletic commission that cover wrestling. Anyway, so they told me I had 18 to get a license, but there was this ass backward mofo by the name of Big Bad Ben Wrestling. I actually got love. A bunch of us dipshit backyard wrestlers get into his ring. I started with Matt Seidel. Delirious was in my class. Mischief, Daisy Hayes, the Diamondback Dingo, Ryan Ash. Just to name a few of the major stars that came out of that class. But there were so many of us, and there were like 12 of us 21 years later. So I think that has a lot to say for our class of wrestlers. But that's where it turned, because that school would allow me to wrestle at 16, and then the state made it an exemption. Matt Seidel was the first person under 18 to get his Missouri state license, and I was the second. And we both got him for about 17. So, they tried to beat the shit out of me so bad that I'd never return because I was a shit-talking punk-ass kid.
That was awesome. And what was your kind of character name back then when you were wrestling as a 17-year-old? Did you have much of a gimmick when you first started?
It was every backyard wrestling gimmick ever, or every shitty deathmatch wrestler now. No disrespect. But, it's like the wrestling trainers were making fun of me for being Jewish. They're, "Oh, you're the Jewish gangster," and I was like, "Oh, that's funny." So that's what they called me for like a minute. I wrestled as a cow. I wrestled as a Splash Brother against Braun Strowman on Raw. That was great.
We're going to talk about that in detail very soon. Yeah, and you started your promotion as well 14 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. So tell us about your journey as a promoter then, because you started promoting in 2007, I understand. And you've kind of been trudging away as a wrestling promoter ever since for the same company. Tell us who that is, and tell us how your journey as a promoter started then, Mikey.
So as a promoter, it was a happenstance that I ass backwards into a wrestling promoter. Somebody I had known for many years. I was 23 years old at the time, and he needed a little bit of help financially. And I jumped on, and we ran a few shows together. We ran like 6 shows together, and he ran out of money, and I was like, well, this is fun, so I want to do it. In 2006, my road dogs, Delirious, Matt Seidel, Daisy Hayes, they dipped out. Delirious moved out to Philly. Matt moved to Kentucky for OVW, and I kind of quit. So finding wrestling to be able to start promoting again found me well at a great time, and it was fun, so it wasn't making a whole lot of money. I periodically came back and forth into wrestling while concert promoting, while starting stand-up comedy, a lot of different ventures in the middle. But when I moved to Northern California, started Fist Combat in its newest rendition in April of 2015. We've been running every year since. even last year we ran 15 shows, I think, or at least 10 or 12. In 2019, we ran 33 live shows. So right now we put out a new episode of Get Fisted TV every Wednesday. It's called Fist Combat, F-I-S-T, Finest Independent Stars Today Combat, because I didn't want to put wrestling in the name.
That's awesome. I did wonder where with the name Fist, what it was attributed to, but you've just explained it there. And it also doubles as a training camp as well, a training school. You're the trainer there at Fist Combat. Tell us about being a trainer as well, Mikey, because this is another string to your bow, isn't it?
You know, I didn't really have a whole lot to offer as a trainer, so I never tried to take on the role. There was no need for me to personally. Although that, you know, I trick a lot of the character stuff. I think I'm exceptional at. But as far as like the technical aspects of wrestling and just how it's transitioned from when I started to where it is now, that I didn't really feel confident to take students under my wing. But I've been working with a kid down here. His name is Ryan, as a matter of fact, and he's an internet player in Britain. So, you know, like he's very well traveled and works a lot in Mexico. And I teamed with him as I thought I could add a lot to character development, to building people like that, to, you know, fundamentals, how to work a crowd. And Ryan Kidd could give the heck of a laugh. So we just graduated our first class of students after our 6-month program, and they're all wrestling matches now.
That's absolutely awesome.
Most of them are wrestling under like a mask, under a different character. But, you know, like we're training these guys and we're having fun with it. We're not necessarily trying to make the next WWE record, but we are making guys that are going out there and having fun with it.
Yeah, indeed. And one thing I want to kind of mention is you've been doing the rounds on the podcast circuit. You said to me off air that you've done a lot of these. This is your first and only UK one so far, but you've done a lot of these podcasts. But one person you've caught the attention of is a certain Mr. Vince Russo. Now, Vince put out a tweet the other day. Now I'm going to bring it up on screen. And he said that Gordon's character development is following the same path that he did with Stone Cold Steve Austin in the 90s. If you have wanted to get involved in a pro wrestling project, this is your chance. So that comment on Vince Russo's Twitter must have blown you away when you saw that. Hell of a support.
I was blown away. Immediately, I don't know how to take compliments, John. I'm really bad at taking compliments. In fact, I'm such an asshole to most of my friends that I give them backhanded compliments. You know, so when anytime that I see somebody give me a compliment, I think they're either it's fake or they're somehow trying to like be an advocate. So I saw that comment from Vince Russo. I was like, no fucking way Vince Russo's commenting on this shit. But then I did a tiny bit of research, and that's definitely from his account. See that?
It seems legit. Yeah.
Like what? Amazing. Like there's no other word I have.
That's an incredible compliment. And comparing you to the character development of Stone Cold Steve Austin from when he was helping with storylines back in the WWF back in the day, that's pretty incredible. But another incredible moment does involve you in the WWE. I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And you actually featured on an episode of Monday Night Raw in a handicap match. Now, you briefly mentioned it earlier, Mikey, but it was against Braun Strowman when he was kind of bursting onto the scene, doing all these wild matches, kicking ass, killing his opponents. First of all, I want to ask you, how did you get the opportunity to be a talent on the TV on Monday Night Raw? How did they approach you, first of all?
So at that time, WWE had just started using local talent again on the big shows to put over some of their guys. Braun Strowman, a couple of those type of people were wrestling your local jobbers. So my friend Raven from LA hooked it up with referee John Cohn's email address. And at the time, I mean, I'm still in pretty good shape now, but at the time I was at my beefiest. I was in great shape. I sent them a couple pictures, said Bay Area. I live out there. I was living in NorCal at the time. And they were like, yeah, come on down, paid extra gigs. So I thought, like maybe they might use me as security. Maybe they might use me as like a paramedic or something like that. So they tell you, they're like, hey, get in your gear, hang around the ring. So I get in my gear. I'm hanging around the ring. It was weird because Anderson comes up to us and he's like, all right, you two, you go work with Primo and Epico. All right, and you two work with Braun. So, and I was like, this is their time to check us out, see what we can do. Because we were told, hey, before the show, you might get a chance to get in the ring and, show them what you can do. It's weird, though, because I'm 5'9" on a good day, and so is my partner. And we're in there, again, in a handicap, going over these spots. I'm like, this is stupid, man. I'm not doing anything. Like, we're just getting beat. I want to show them what I can do. And I had no idea this was on Raw at the time. I was just thinking we're having a practice match. So we're going over the fucking spots, move by move by move by move. And then we're done with it. And they're like, all right, cool. Let's come back in about an hour and go over this again. And they're like, here. And I was ripped. And I looked down at this thing. It's like segment 8, Monday Night Raw. And I was like, we're wrestling on Raw. Oh, shit, right? And then I'm looking at the script, and I'm like, oh, my God, one of us is doing a fucking promo live on Raw? Like, I'm going to kill this. I will fight this guy to the death. I don't care what I got to do. I got to be that guy talking. I don't know what I got to do. What am I going to do? Am I going to fight this guy? How are we going to do this? Are we going to wrestle over this? Like, what's going on? Oh, my God. And then he goes right away. He goes, oh, you can have it. So I was like, yeah, dude, I took that. And so we did the match. Braun was big and had less than 100 matches, I think, of that. Like a big, bad motherfucker. And, dude, I tried to make – okay, Johners, check this out. I tried – because, like, I'm a goofy guy, if you can't. I tried to make goofy faces when he hit me. So he hit me, I'd be, whatever, like some cartoon shit. So, but this guy, Braun Strowman, hit so hard, like I crumbled down to the mat, like oh my God, like oh shit, like this shit, dude. But at the very end of the match, they so he reverse choke slams me, so I'm technically on top of my opponent, my partner. So I hook his leg, hook the leg. So 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman actually helped me win on Monday Night Raw, so I'm 1-0 on Monday Night Raw, technically.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And can you remember your promo to this day? Do you know roughly what you said? And did it kind of come to you in an inspiration? How did you know what to say, or was you fed lines? Was you told what to say in your promo?
We were given a word for word script, and I read that word for word script, word for word, except I my actual mom, like, here we're the Splash Brothers. Here we're from Oaktown. Mama Shea always told us that we grew up to make an impact, something like that. So Broman, get ready, because the Splash Brothers are coming for you. And they told us that, right, John? Do not look right into the camera. Vince hates that. Vince hates when you look right into the camera. So, John, what did I do? I looked right into that camera. Right, I did. I looked right into it. I didn't care. So after the match, I go past Gorilla. Thank you guys. It was awesome. I head down. I go like grab a bottle of water. I come back to Gorilla where all the other extras are standing, and I'm going down the hall. Right down the hallway, in between 50 people, there he is, Vince McMahon, looking like he's 13 feet tall. Okay, so this 20-foot tall man is looking down the hallway, and where John is, he walks like that everywhere. You know it. What was he doing? What was he doing across that hall? What was just like I did? He was looking right into my eyes. He was looking right into my eyes, all the way across the hallway. So I'm like, oh shit! Like he's walking this way. I'm gonna just stop. Maybe he'll say something to me, And walk in, and I'm thinking, oh shit, where's he at? I just gotta look like I'm cool, just standing here, right? And then I look up again, and there he is, halfway to me, and he's still staring right into my eyes. So thinking, I'm like, oh my God, I did something wrong. He's coming to yell at me. Vince McMahon, where can I go? I can't go nowhere. I can't go backwards. I can't go forward. There's no door right here. What am I going to do? And then I look up, and there he is. And with him. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. He's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. And you know what he says to me? He goes, you did a great job tonight, son. Great job. And I tell you what, I almost shit my pants.
That's awesome.
Greatest night of my life.
Oh, indeed, indeed. Did you have any further interaction with Braun after the match? Did he come up and apologize for being so stiff?
Oh, no. He didn't know. I'm not saying he was stiff. He wasn't stiff. He's just 400 pounds. You know,
he's a big guy. Yeah, he's a big dude.
You know, unless you've been in a ring, dude, he's fucking huge. If you haven't been in a ring with a guy that big, 400 pounds with another 180-pound dude on his back running at me, you know, dude.
Everything's going to hurt. Everything's going to hurt, indeed. Yeah. So we're on the verge of wrapping up this live podcast experience with Mikey Gordon. But Mikey, what's the plans for the coming weeks and coming months? Did you have like a film schedule in place? Have you doing any more filming soon? Give us a bit of a rundown as far as what you've got planned with the movie or with the fist combat over the next few weeks. Then give us a bit of a rundown as far as what you're going to be busy with.
So Get Fit comes out every Wednesday. Brand commercials out there. This week's funny commercial was Donald Trump's professional wrestling school. So go ahead and check out Get Fisted episode number 607. Fist Combat has live shows every 2 weeks. Well, the campaign for the Indiegogo finishes in mid-April, a week after WrestleMania. So whatever funds we have at that point, we're going to take that. I'm going to assess it. And then we're going to finish film regardless. So we're going to go out, you know, we're looking for help for sure. You know, but it's not like we're looking just for free money. We're giving away cool perks. We're giving away like some of the apron from the canvas, from the ring, from the movie, you know, giving out tickets to the screenings when we're out there showing it live, you know, is that we have a lot of really cool things with that. So as soon as the funding is done, we're hoping to shoot this thing in May. We've got about 7 days left on set. When we finish shooting in May, we'll be editing in the month of June, and then hopefully July we'll be getting it out there. Like I said, we do not plan on streaming. Our plan is to go out there, see the thing, show it around the country, make a couple bucks, make our money back from the first one, and make enough money to make the second one. Second, third, fourth, fifth, 20th, 100th, all that. We're trying to make for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans. We're trying to make ourselves like the National Lampoons of professional wrestling comedies, maybe some dramas, maybe some mysteries, maybe some horror movies, who knows? But first, we're starting with comedies. So, you know, like Rob Van Dam's on board, Katie Forbes on board. We got a great cast and crew, and we're adding to it more and more. There's a lot more surprises and cameos that will be popping in on the second filming. And when we're done, we're going to have something we're really proud of. We're going to have something Netflix ready, and we're going to have something that's going to be a foundation of independent wrestling for a long time to come. Hopefully it's a new revolution. Hopefully it's a new outlet for wrestlers to show how incredible and how incredibly talented they are outside the circle.
Yeah, well, I for one certainly can't wait to see the movie, to see how it all comes about, see what the end product is. I know there's thousands and thousands of people out there that can't wait to see the film as well, and quite a lot of Wrestling with John's viewers and listeners watching this now are looking forward to seeing that film somehow. Hopefully in the UK we'll be able to get a chance to see it, Mikey. I'm not sure how, but maybe one day. And like I say, sequels to come, a lot of cool things with you and Rob Van Dam in the future. But you're a busy guy. You're a busy guy. I know you got a comedy show tonight, but all that cool stuff. Just remind us one more time, Mikey, where we need to go to be able to donate to help you finish this film. I know you got your Indiegogo and your website. Tell us all about it and tell us how we can support you.
Absolutely, John. You know, I really appreciate you. I appreciate the couple dozens of podcasts that I've been had the pleasure of being a guest on. I know that you guys have created your own audiences within the pro wrestling bubble, within the pro wrestling. And, you know, I'm just hoping a little spot on that map. So, you know, that I've given my entire life to pro wrestling because I love this. And I know that everybody I get the privilege of being up to about this film loves wrestling also. So whether there's 5 or 500,000 people listening to any podcast interview I do, anytime I talk about the film, or anytime I put on a performance involving professional wrestling, know it comes from my heart, and know that I love this business and this trade more than anything. And no matter what happens, no matter how many people donate to this thing, I know there's 5,000 wrestling fans out there with $10 that can help get this thing done. But you know what? I know there's tens of thousands of more wrestling fans all across the globe, hundreds of thousands of wrestling fans that are going to see this film when it's done. And you know what? They're going to like it. Not because I said so, because I'm proud of what we've done. Proud of what we've done. I know everybody that has seen the trailer that has said something to me is impressed with the product that we have so far.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
So that tells me one thing, Johners. That tells me that you took an hour of your time right now with me, and I already know you took hours of research to do before this podcast. Do you know how much that means to me? That the people involved that have just even watched the trailer, that have taken the time to say something to me, even if they haven't, like, we are making an impact, we're making waves, and we're not going to stop. We know that inside the wrestling universe, we're just trying to get our small piece on the map, and we're trying to make that piece as cool as we can, as fun as we can. By pro wrestling fans, for pro wrestling fans. And, you know, I couldn't put it any further than that. It's easy to find me at Dirty Ron McDonald. It's easy to find all of our stuff online, apro.com, at A Pro-RASSLIN MOVIE on all social media. Hashtag Dirty Ron Movie. You know, we're making the rounds. Wrestling Observer, MMA, here with Jenners across the pond. If you've got a podcast, I'd love to come on there and talk with you. I'd love to talk some shit. Let's do it. Let's do it. You know, thank you, fans, and thank you to the wrestling industry for supporting us this far, but it ain't over yet. Hulk Hogan's kicking out at 2, brother. I'm shaking that finger because we're about to hold up and get everybody pumped up from all the way, from Miami to Seattle to San Diego to St. Louis. It doesn't matter. We're coming tried and we're coming truest. We're coming with you and we're coming to you, baby. Johners, thank you so much for having on this podcast. You're the man. Keep supporting wrestling. It's fucking awesome.
Thank you, Dirty Ron, and thank you, Mikey. Best of luck with your movie-going venture. I can't wait to see the film, and all of my viewers can't wait to see the film, and we'll catch up with you all again soon.